Okay, welcome, Anne. So after a little dancing with the curtains and so on, we'll get started. Um, so I'm sure you've got lots of questions, but I'd like to start out with one. Um, this is the second film in your so-called Vietnam trilogy. Um, and yesterday we had a wonderful masterclass. Um, and one of the things you were talking about was how your determination to make films meant that sometimes you were working with projects that you initiated and you had a lot of control over, and other times people brought projects to you. So I wonder if you could just tell us a bit about the story behind this one, how this project started.
Yes, this is my third film. I made The Secret in '79 and then Spooky Bunch in 1980. And we started almost shooting this film also in 1980 or 81. And at that time, the first film, the bosses asked us to present them stories for the first film. So we gave them the story of The Secret. And then the second film was initiated by the producer, Siu Fang Fang. She said she wanted a ghost story, which is funny. And the third film, I was working with a new script writer, and we presented several stories to the bosses. And actually, the story of Woo Viet is the story after my own heart, because ever since I started getting to know the refugees, Vietnamese refugees in Hong Kong, I found out quite a lot about them and wanted to do a story. But then the moment I said I wanted to shoot the movie in Chinatown, especially in the States, they refused because it would be double the budget of an ordinary non-costume drama film. But when we presented this, and when I presented the story to the scriptwriter, he was very excited. So the both of us went to the bosses and told them we wanted to shoot. He said, well, you can shoot in Chinatown, but not in States, but in the Philippines, because all over the world there are Chinatowns. If you don't believe it, you go with the scriptwriter to the Philippines, to Chinatown, and then have a look. If you are satisfied, I think we can afford to go to the Philippines. So we went for maybe a week, and then we came back, and then we started writing the story for the Woo Viet, yeah. And then afterwards, we shot very quickly afterwards.
Thank you. So now, any questions from the audience, any comments? Anybody has anything they'd like to ask Anne? No? Okay. Yesterday, everyone had hands up, so complete silence. Okay.
It's okay, don't worry. I'm not worried.
Please go ahead, yeah.
Thank you, and it was a wonderful film. I really enjoyed it. I had a question about one of the scenes I found really.
Can you speak louder? I
Sorry,
don't
yeah.
have a very good ear.
I had a question about. Firstly, thank you. It was a really beautiful film. I had a question about one of the scenes that I thought was really arresting, but I found it difficult to contextualize in the context of the rest of the film, and that was the scene relatively early on after Woo Viet's come to the Philippines. And there's the really beautiful shot of the transvestite character outside in the street singing. He's just been dumped by his boyfriend. And I wondered if you could talk a bit more about that scene and the role you see it playing in the narrative.
The scene of what?
The transvestite cross-dressing character on the street.
Oh, what do you want to ask about? That's a woman or a man? I think that's our hairdresser. Oh, she's a transvestite too. Yes. So she was. Yeah.
And what was the role of that scene in the narrative? Why did you want to have that scene in there?
Because at that time in 1980, there were lots of transvestites. Can I call transvestites? Is it okay? Yeah, lots of transvestites in Jakarta. No, in the Philippines, in Manila. So we thought it would be like more local color. Because in Hong Kong, they are not visible in Hong Kong.
That's a very good point. I remember at that time, around that time, the first time when I went to Manila as well, I was trying to understand the whole kind of gay queer scene there. And the thing that was really obvious at that time was there were so-called ladyboy scene everywhere in Manila, but almost nothing that I would recognize as a gay bar, very few. So that was very definitely part of the context of Manila at that time.
And I was quite disappointed. I remember with the very how do you call it, the hairstyle, because the hairstyle is so sedate. I would think she's got this kind of hair, but then later I thought, it's the hairstyle which resembles that of Cherry Chung, and so maybe like it's a kind of feminine representation. Yeah.
Any other questions? Any other comments? Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. And thank you very much for the film as well as masterclass yesterday. I have another question about the production process. You mentioned that the film was shot in 1980 and it was premiered in 1984. So, right.
It was shown in 1984?
Yeah.
No,
No,
I think
okay.
it was shown shortly after.
Shortly after. Oh,
Yeah.
then I don't really have a question because I thought
Love enough.
because I thought it 4 years was such a long time for a film to screen that.
No.
Yeah.
1981 or so. It was a very good box office at that time. I mean, not very, but good. Yes.
But I do have a question about production, which is, it's all shot on location
Yes.
with 35 millimeter.
Yes.
Can you talk a bit about some of the challenges of doing that? It must have been quite tough, I would think, right? The equipment is heavy.
I don't remember
No?
any.
Okay.
Because if it's tough, it's like. In fact, I remember very clearly, the production was like the whole crew was living in two apartments. We rented two apartments, and except for one room was given to the women, including the production manager, Cheryl Chung, myself, the continuity, and one other woman. And I had the, how do you call it, the privilege of sleeping on the bed. The rest of them were on the floor. And most of the crew, they were sort of either not, if they got 3 rooms in their apartment, and then maybe 2 beds each, and then they were squeezed into those rooms and some in the hallways. That's how we lived. I mean, and we shot the whole thing in Manila for maybe a month and a half. Yeah. The total shooting days of the film was 45 days, and including 17 days in Hong Kong before, which was mostly cut because I was not very satisfied with the way the script was going. So very little was left behind. And we expanded on the part in Manila, but we don't have enough money to shoot it all the time. So we try to squeeze everything together and just shot it. And Zhou Yunfa at that time, every day he would go to the market with Lo Lie and cook for the crew. And he was a very good cook too, because he made, I remember distinctly, we had rice and we had shrimp, big prawns cooked in tomato sauce. So, I mean, not all the time, but maybe quite frequently. He cooked for us. I mean, there were 30 people.
Was this one of his first starring films?
Oh, yes. It was his first starring film role. He was already very famous in television.
And how did you come to decide he was the right person for this role?
I saw him in TV and I met him in person in TVB. I mean, about 5 years before. And a friend, an actor friend of mine who acted in my TV series told me he thought that Zhou Yunfa was a very good actor. And so I never tried or talked with him. I just met him maybe in a subway and nodded. And then I said I wanted to, I gave him the script. and he was very, very happy. In fact, he initiated some kind of a rebellion because it was very, very hot, and then he always had to shoot TV, and he asked for a holiday to shoot our movie, and TVB refused because, and so he really disappeared. I mean, how do you call it? He doesn't answer phones from the studio until TVB executives came to my boss and told me to release him. The long and the short of it was I had to try to persuade him to go back to TV first before we shot his film because it's very important for his career. That's the story. So he really was very determined because he had a contract with the studio, but he still sort of rebelled against the studio and wanted to shoot this movie. But I felt very apologetic. I mean, I was always feeling apologetic because I think a lot of the action sequence wasn't good enough because the action sequence in Hong Kong at that time was very high. And we can only afford to employ Ching Siu Dong, who is the action master, who's he did the action sequences for Hero, Jiang Yimou, later. And he himself is a very good director as well. We can only hire him for 1 week. So I have to give him the important scenes, like the scene in the Jeep where somebody fall off, and the last scene. But some of the action sequence I just shot myself. I mean, especially the scene with the gunfights. It was, I felt sort of, I'm very, not very confident about it.
You happy with the result?
Actually, I'm not very happy with the result of this film, but I put my hopes on Boat People, which has 3 times the budget, and 3 times the length of time for the shoot.
And I mean, you're always so self-critical. It's interesting to see that.
It's true. I mean, I'm just not satisfied. I mean, I can't help myself. You see. I'm not trying to say anything.
Always go higher. Always go higher.
Yes.
Right? Yes. Yeah.
It's too late now, though.
In terms, you just said the Boat People budget was 3 times higher.
Yeah.
Was that partly because of this film, getting attention and critical success and
I mean, that was a different question. I mean, they gave me because Boat People was not financed by film studio. It was financed by Fok Ying Dong, who's one of the richest person in Hong Kong, and he was how do you call it? Very sympathetic to mainland China, and this is a sort of a production supported by the Chinese government, and this guy gave the money, and so he gave 3 times as much as any film, and then they also gave us certain guidances for shooting in Hainan Island instead of in real Vietnam. And at that time, it was supposed to be a kind of propaganda against the Vietnamese government because I think China was at war with Vietnam in 1979. So that's the whole idea. But later it was so incredibly inconceivable that it was sort of received as an attack on communist China. Because and I was banned both sides, I was banned everywhere. But I was just, out to shoot a simple story of people escaping from suffering, really.
And to go back to Woo Viet.
Yes, sorry.
No. I asked the question. My fault.
Oh, yeah. So they asked me to shoot this movie, and I have to go back to China to shoot because it's in Hainan Island. And at that time, Taiwan was a big market. If I shoot in mainland China, I would be banned from Taiwan. So no director wanted to do it. But I was so attracted to the story that I will do it anyhow. So all my friends came and talked to me and said, please don't do it because you will ruin yourself. You won't get a chance to shoot any movie if it is not successful. Or even if it is successful, it's going to have difficulties in how you screen it and that kind of thing. And I just didn't listen because It's not that I was so passionate about the project because I was too lazy to decide the pros and cons. So I just went ahead. And just shot it. And even Alan Fong, Alan Fong, he really called me seriously one day and told me not to do it because it's such a big risk for a new director. But am I very courageous? I don't think so. It's a kind of foolhardy instinct because I thought, oh, okay, if I get banned in Taiwan, then I'll shoot in China. Or if I can't shoot in China and get banned as well, I'll shoot commercials. I was thinking like that. Or if not, I'll go back to teaching.
Anyone got any questions? Okay, down here perhaps. Can we get a microphone if there is one? Okay, so we got someone at the back and then we'll come to the front, yeah.
I think my question is actually related to what you have just said. So do you have a particular audience in mind when you're shooting Woo Viet?
I know about Woo Viet, but not with the boat people, because it's like an ordinary action movie, but set in the Philippines, because lots of movies like that were shot in Hong Kong at that time. But then, of course, it's about Vietnamese refugees. That's all.
Yeah. So would you envision Vietnamese refugees themselves seeing the
Hong
film?
Kong audience liked it.
I see. Thank you.
So just a quick question, because I'm not very understand of this film before. So how Teddy Robin shaped his song related to this film? Because
it was sort of record later. I mean, afterwards we said because at that time they usually have a song at the end of the movie or use a song for the movie for promotion purposes. But I refused to have a song in the middle of the film, and so I said you can use it for any publicity. So it's a theme, sort of how do you call it? Composed by the musician. And then later, it was made into a hit song. I mean, which came out with the film at the same time.
Okay, so
I'm sorry. Once I get tired, I can't speak English.
I think we have another
Forget
question
words.
at the back. Yeah. This, right at the back row, and then the woman in front of her next.
I just got a really quick question about the last plot in the rest. So I just got a really quick question about the last plot in the restaurant. So Woo Viet got the gun from the toilet. That kind of remind me of Godfather. So I just want to ask, did you deliberately design it to homage that
In
film?
fact, we did the research in the Philippines, and that was the real event. And
Oh.
so I was so attracted that I knew that it was a Godfather sort of sequence, but I still used it. That's all.
So just a coincidence.
Yes, it's exactly like Godfather.
And could you pass the microphone to the... Yeah, great.
Thank you. I'm a little bit curious about the character, the pen friend of Woo Viet. Like she is a very stable woman with a big house and a good job, but I'm confused why she like him. Like, is it just love, or there are something mean something deeper like that?
You don't know. You see, in our generation, pen friends are very romantic. Yeah, but you don't have them anymore. But then we write to pen friends for years, and then maybe suddenly you get married, that kind of thing.
And also, it's Chai Yun Fat, I mean.
But I find it very strange that maybe I'm not so good at shooting love stories, but everybody asks me why this girl falls in love with that man. I said, there's no reason. I mean, can you explain why somebody fall in love? It's I mean, because of this or that, or because he sort of help her across the road or something. No, I mean, and I just cannot explain it because I feel it's.
Okay, anybody else? Any other? At the back there. Now I come to you.
Hi, thank you. It's a really special film. I think at the start of the screening, you mentioned it's been 45 years, and the stories feels like very different from today, and it is a special time. And there's a couple of general questions about how do you feel now looking back about this film, and also whether your feeling about this early work like changed or shifted over the years. Yeah.
I haven't watched this for maybe at least 10 years. But then maybe the last time I saw it, I felt it was one of the better films. I mean, it still sort of worked for me. I mean, but except for the sound, which is quite awful now. I mean, because it's dubbed, it's not sing sound. Yeah.
I guess that also would help making the shooting a bit easier back then. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, and we have another question at the front here. Down here, please.
This sort of leads off from that last question. Boat People got a 4K restoration a couple of years ago, and Visible Secret as well has just been restored. Which of your films would you now like to be reappraised and restored? And
I didn't initiate them because I don't own the films, and then sort of on and off, someone would, want to restore it, and so they restored it. And so far, they've restored The Secret. They're now restoring The Spooky Bunch. This has a restoration, and then the Boat People got also a Blu-ray restoration, and 3 or 4 others of my film.
And if you had control,
No,
which,
I don't own.
no, but if you did, what would your next one be?
Let me see. No, maybe Ordinary Heroes.
Okay. Any
Oh
particular?
no, maybe Song of Exile.
That's the one I'd like to see restored. Because it's so difficult to get a good access to a good copy at the moment. Yeah. Any other? Yes, here in the middle.
I was quite surprised to hear that you've been banned quite a few times, and I wonder. I mean, being a veteran at being banned for your films that are, that talk to the human condition so clearly. What do you feel now? Does it say anything to you being banned multiple times?
About being banned.
Yeah, some people were like, well, I must be doing something right, and other people think, it's.
Really, filmmaking for me is at that time when I started, it was like a game. It was a fun, and it was a challenge. I don't get any money out of it, very little, and I work very, very hard. Actually, I mean, and then at that time, it's so many people are making movies, and you don't even get a red carpet or that kind of thing. No, and the awards haven't started yet in Hong Kong. Maybe we go to Cannes, but then we don't get a prize because and that kind of thing. So I really make movies because I love to do it. And it's a very kind of magical period. Like everybody was like that somehow because all my crew were young people, script writers, and then we all started together. And then this can never be repeated because, for one thing, when you are old, everything is different. And also, if you become very successful or very famous, then you get very scared and nervous about losing your position. And when you shoot movies with that kind of mindset, it's not fun anymore. It's like, oh, you must have this, and then they say, you must ask for this and ask for this. I just don't bother, I mean, and so it was. And when I think about it, I really wish I could do it again. I mean, do the same thing with those early films. But in the middle films, maybe it was agony because I didn't know what to do. And in the later films, sometimes I'm very tired. So it's like, I don't regret those things, very much because I don't really shoot a movie for money. I do shoot movie for a livelihood because that's my job.
With the banning, was any of the banning
I was very
long term?
I was proud of being banned.
Okay, that's what I wanted to. Yes, okay. It's good to be proud of being banned.
Yeah.
Okay. And another question here.
Sorry, since I'm sitting next to her, I thought it's easier for me to just take over the mic and ask the question. I think you have been assistant to King Wu,
Yeah.
right? So I believe he's affected you or taught you a lot of things about, because I really love King Wu's movie about Dragon Ink and all this. So has he been a good mentor for you?
Oh, fantastic.
Can you tell us a bit more about working with King Hu?
Not. I haven't worked with him. I mean, I was only in his office for 3 months. But I mean, like as a personality, like he's extremely dedicated and then extremely interesting person because he read all the time and he was so knowledgeable about art and then all kinds of books and really interested. He wrote a book on Lu She, Lao She, did research and all that, and then he painted his own posters. So, and he's a very, very nice person. Because at that time, there was really, I never imagined that about this feminism thing, because he was very kind to women. I mean, he doesn't treat me like I don't know anything, very like all his other colleagues. And so, and then he works very hard as well. But a little bit too hard because, like in those days, the director is also the lighting man. I mean, he knows about lights, and then he made all the props, and then that kind of thing. So he has to work extra hard because there is no. It's not like nowadays when every head of the perhaps the costume team, they know everything. It's like the director is the head of everything. And he wrote his own scripts.
Hi, thank you. Just wondering what kind of role did you play in the story? So, was this your idea and then the scriptwriter implements it? Where did you find it? And was it a collaboration between you and the script?
How did it start? I forgot. I mean, like I went to Manila with the scriptwriter. The scriptwriter was a very young guy. I was quite young myself. I think he's about 10 years younger. He just graduated from college and was and we were chatting a lot in RTHK. And then he showed me some of his writings, and I found that a lot of his writings was very good and very funny. So I said, will you write a script? So he said, okay. and we started that. And then maybe we talked about the story. I mean, what kind of story and all that. We went to Manila, in Chinatown.
And can you tell us a little bit about your background research? Because I know not necessarily solely with this film, but also with Boy from Vietnam before, you'd done a lot of work to understand the situation of the refugees from Vietnam, right? And you'd met them. So could you tell us a bit about that?
The Boy from Vietnam story was also based on the story of a young boy in Hong Kong who was really a refugee. And he acted in Boy from Vietnam. I think he was about 15 then and came on that boat. And then when we met him, he was working in one of the earliest Vietnamese restaurants run by refugees in Hong Kong. It was very good. So so I said he should act as the main character. And most of the other characters, especially the extras, are real Vietnamese refugees. And from there, and when we were shooting, we have to shoot some of the scenes supposedly in Vietnam, in Saigon. And we found that in Macau, there are lots of buildings because they're both as a French, like French buildings. So I got interested in the story before they left. Because I like the buildings and the staircases, and the kind of feeling of these old guys and a very beautiful woman in these straw hats, riding bicycles. So, so I got on to research more about what happened before they left. At that time, there was very little written things, and I only got hold of, I remember just one 1 hour documentary about Saigon at that time. And then a lot of the story in Boat People was based on a Japanese novel, 2 Japanese novels. One of the Japanese novels was, I forgot the name of the writer, but he was very famous then in the 70s. And it was about a Japanese journalist during Saigon. And some of his observations about the war and people were so poignant that it's not the sequences, because they were based on real events, but then the kind of atmosphere. Like he said, as a correspondent, he would be going up on a cyclo and then go to have breakfast and then, spend a long day, that kind of thing,
So we've got time for one more question.
Okay. The final question's down the front here.
Hi. I'd like to ask a question about shooting location. So you choose...
like what?
Shooting location, filming location.
Ah.
Okay, so because you choose Hainan Island as the filming location for the poor people. So can I ask if there is any specific reason for shooting in Hainan, in geographical climate or something?
No symbolic reason. Because they recommended that I should shoot it in Hainan because I obviously can't shoot this movie in Vietnam.
Yeah, sure.
It's against the Vietnamese government. And then they said that the Hainan is on the same latitude as Da Nang, somewhere in in central Vietnam. And then the topography, the vegetation, the weather was like Vietnam. So, and a lot of the buildings, because we shot it in Haikou, the capital at that time. But now, if you go to Haikou, it's completely different. I mean, so we shot that in Hainan just for the sake of the location.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I'm from Hainan, so I'm quite proud.
Sorry?
It's from Hainan.
I'm from Hainan, so...
You don't, I recognize it, right?
I'm so proud of your shooting in Hainan. Thank you.
Okay. Hainan and Zhanjiang.
Yeah. So, Boat People will screen on Monday at 6 p.m., if I remember correctly. And so hopefully we'll see some of you there. And now please join me in thanking Ann Hui.
Thank you. I'm so sorry.